This is Tackle Warehouse First Look, live at ICAST 2023. Can't believe it's 2023. Joining me is Mr. JP Derose and two fine Italian-American gentlemen bringing you the beautiful new Aldebaran BFS reel, something I've been able to play with for several months now. I'm really excited about.
Aren't you the lucky guy?
I am a lucky guy. Tell us all about it.
Well, Aldebaran BFS. BFS is Bait Finesse System is what it really stands for, and it's all about the ability to use a bait caster to throw ultra lightweight baits. Things that are difficult to cast on traditional bait casting, so a 16th ounce, an 8th ounce, a 32nd ounce. And how they do that is with Shimano's FTB Finesse Tune brake. So it's got a completely unique braking system that involves magnets and centrifugal force. So they've removed all of the braking from the spool, and that allows them to lighten up the spool, giving the spool lighter startup inertia. On top of that, they upgraded this to the MGL Spool 3, so that's the strongest, lightest, thinnest spool they make. So you couple that with the braking, you've got a great system for throwing light stuff. Other features about this, silent tune. So they got bushings on either side of the spool that stop the side-to-side play, reduces vibration at high-speed casts, and personally my favorite, exciting drag sound.
It's a fun noise.
It's a fun noise. Everybody loves a screaming drag, and now you can get it on a bait casting reel. So it's available actually in two hands, left and right. The reel only weighs in at 4.6 ounces, and it's going to retail, I believe, for about $549.99.
Awesome, really cool, high performance, and I think for a lot of us, myself included, BFS fanboy, the Curado BFS really opened my eyes to what was possible with a casting reel. I've fished down to 4 pound, super light, teeny tiny baits, and I can throw that stuff as far or further than I can throw my spinning tackle, and it really has replaced a lot of my spinning rods on the deck. Really excited for this brand new high performance BFS reel in the Shimano lineup.
And just to start, one thing that I see a lot of people make a mistake with BFS, the spool is very shallow, right? So 40 yards of 8-pound test is what it's designed to carry, and it only has an 8-pound drag curve. So you don't want to overload it. You don't want to throw a 10-pound braid on it. I run mine with 5-pound braid and an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader or straight 8-pound test, and it works perfectly with the system.
Very cool. That's the brand new Aldebaran BFS, available for pre-order now at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next, from Shimano, we have the next generation of probably the most prolific and well-known dynasty in casting reels. That's the Curado, and this is the brand new Curado 200M. JP, tell us all about it.
So Curado, like you said, it's the tournament angler's choice. It's a workhorse. It's been around since the early 90s, if not the late 80s. So it's gone through generations, but two things have remained constant. It's performance and it's pricing. So Curado M, they've upped the scale once again and put the MGL Spool 3. So that is a lightweight, low startup inertia spool that offers anglers a wider range of casting efficiency. So you can tackle the lighter baits, but this is more than happy to take on the big baits, A-rigs or football jigs or anything you want to throw on them. The other thing is, being a 200 spool, you've got that line capacity. 110 yards of 14-pound test. If someone can throw a jig, a football field, they're a better man than me. So lots of line capacity. And then also on this one, you have your traditional things that are really good. You have X-Ship, double supported pinion gear. You got micro module gear, 13 pounds of drag, 3 gear ratios, 6-2, 7-4, 8-5 to 1, both left and right-handed. So, whether you want to throw a big 10XD or a big deep diving rolled crank, or you want to throw something finessey, this reel is built to do that.
Really, really cool. You talked about both durability and performance, and that's always what Curado has meant for me. And as the real repair guys at Shimano know, I'm hard on stuff, but they don't see many Curados back for me. I'm not nice to my gear, and they hold up and they keep performing year in, year out. I'm really excited to try the brand new Curado M, and really excited for that to trickle down to the rest of the Curado lineup as we break into this new M series generation, right?
Absolutely, and anglers will know once they try it, between silent tune and having the bushings on either side of the spool to reduce that high-speed vibration, it's really going to prove itself to be a very good casting reel paired with that MGL Spool 3. So give her a shot, because it is a performer once again.
Beautiful cosmetics, durability, performance, price, all in one package. That's the brand new Curado M from Shimano, available for pre-order now at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next from Shimano, the next generation of the proven great value the Sedona spinning reel. This is the FJ. This is a real, I can't tell you the year I bought my first Sedona, but I've had a lot of them. Tell us all about the brand new FJ.
Well, Sedona is where we meet value to performance, right? It's that fine line between spending a boatload of money and getting super high-end technologies and performance, but still being able to save a lot of money and still get a great performing reel. And Sedona FJ is that $79 reel that performs like a much higher value reel. The heart of this reel is actually the Hagane gear, so that cold-forged aluminum drive gear. Shimano's got the toughest gear in the market because they're stamping aluminum into its form. They're not heating it, they're not cutting it, they're not pouring it. It is a solid gear that is proven, and I mean, we run Hagane gear from Stella all the way down. Okay, so you're getting the best gear we possibly make. The other thing they've done is they've included silent drive. So silent drive is where they take the tolerances around the worm shaft pin and gear and they tighten everything up. And what that eliminates is when you spin the reel, it eliminates that whirring sound when you have a little bit of gap in between gears that mesh and roll together. So silent drive really tightens everything up, and that gives you really that quietness, but also that durability and longevity in the reel. Another feature on this, it's got the G-free body. The G-free body is where they take the pinion and everything and put it above the handle, bringing the weight of the reel closer to the hand, which helps it balance better when you're reeling it, and then the propulsion spool lip design. Now this reel here is available from 500, like the one you've got in your hand, 500 size, a 1000, a 2500, C3000, 4000, and C5000 size.
An awesome range of sizes to fit all kinds of, primarily we're a freshwater retailer to serve all kinds of freshwater anglers. When you're buying a Sedona, you're going to get great performance, great durability, beautiful cosmetics in this new FJ generation of the well-known, well-tried, well-loved Sedona family of spinning reels. These are available for pre-order now at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next, in the Shimano booth, we have the next generation of another favorite. This is the Stradic spinning reel. Tell us all about the brand new generation of Stradic.
Well, everyone knows Stradic. It's been around since the late 80s, early 90s, and it is, to me, the equivalent of what Curado has become on the low-profile bait casting side. Stradic is that workhorse, weekend warrior, professional angler, just dominant reel that performs year after year. So this, in my opinion, is the biggest improvement that I've seen, is we've gotten 4 technologies directly from Stella FK, which won Best of Show last year, and they've put that into the Stradic. The first one they've done is Infinity Drive, and Infinity Drive is where they take the drive shaft and run it through the pinion gear rather than being supported by it. And for an angler, what that does is it gives them improved winding torque. So when you're fighting a big fish and turning on them, you don't have that wobble between the pinion gear and drive gear. It just gives you lots of power. The other thing they've done is taken the Infinity Cross gear from Stella and put that in here. Now, Infinity Cross, much like we talked about in Sedona, is a Hagane cold-forged aluminum drive gear, but the tooth pattern is the most recent state-of-the-art tooth pattern. It's the Micro Module 2 gear that is cut to disperse the weight load when you're winding over a greater area, leaving less hot spots on the gear. That again is smoothness and durability. Another thing, if you're a person who likes to fight hard pulling fish, Duracross drag. So Stella introduced the Duracross drag last year. It is a woven carbon fiber drag, and it really promotes the smoothness of felt, but the durability of cross carbon, which can be up to 30 times more durable than a felt drag washer. And then lastly, the anti-twist fin, which is a small little rubber arm inside under the line roller. You can kind of see it right there. Mm-hmm. And if you're a slackline fisherman fishing, fluorocarbon, and you're throwing a shaky head or a drop shot,
keep it rolling, man.
And you're throwing a drop shot, and you have that rod in that 9 to 11 o'clock position, your line has a chance to slip out of the bail roller.
Right.
What that anti-twist fin does, it keeps it up there, and if you have a loop in your line and it's being reeled in, it tends to try to straighten it out for you, offers you better line management. Now, if you're like me and I fish a lot of Power Pro to fluorocarbon leader, right, and this becomes an issue for you, it's very easy to take out with a set of needle nose. You can pull that rubber fin out, and this way when you're winding your leaders onto the reel, it's not an issue. The other things with Stradic that we've come to love from the last generation, long stroke spool, Hagane body, X-Protect for water penetration, durability, X-Ship, all the things that we've come to love about this reel are still here with 4 phenomenal new features.
That's awesome. And what's the price point on this guy?
$199 to $229. They're available in a 1,000 to 5,000 size.
So what you're telling me is last year's Stella you're getting a lot of the same features in this year's Stradic.
It's trickled down with Shimano, and we all benefit. The people who benefit most are the consumers, that we get that high-level technology from like an Aldebaran or a Stella, and it ends up trickling down to the consumers in lower markets without having to raise the price.
So we've talked a lot about all of the features that make this a great performer, a very durable reel, but it's also a gorgeous reel. Stradic has a long history of just being a beautiful showpiece, from some of those white-bodied, wooden-handled ones, and this continues that tradition of a really gorgeous spinning reel that's going to pair well with one of your great Shimano or G-Limits rods.
Absolutely.
So check that out. That's the brand new generation of the Stradic. It's available now for pre-order at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next in the Shimano booth, joining me is Mr. Alex Davis. Alex, thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about how I get sponsored by Sonic. No, just kidding. We're here to talk about the brand new Shimano Curado series editions, right? Model editions.
Yeah, we have 5 new editions. You have 3 in your hand. I got 2. These 2 are my favorite. I had a lot to do with these. It took me about 6 months. So the first one is a swim jig rod. It's a 7.3 medium heavy plus. What we've done is we've made like a heavy backbone, but we've got a medium heavy tip. On braid, though, you need to be able to get them out of lily pads, thick stuff, bank grass around Alabama. So to do the swim jig with the Alabama shake, they call it, you see guys shaking your rod a lot. You need a lot of tip. It makes that swim jig actually walk almost like a spook underneath the water. So you got plenty of tip to be able to do that. When they get it on braid, you can jack them. You're not going to bend your hooks out. You're not going to rip it away from them, but it's got a lot of backbone to get them out. Secondly, I love throwing a chatterbait. Living at Guntersville, grass all year long, chatterbait's my thing. And this is the 7.3 medium heavy plus glass rod. I used to throw it on the 7.2 medium heavy that's in the glass rod, that's in the Curado lineup. Just needed something more for those long casts or, half ounce, making a bigger trailer to pop it out of the grass and get a good hook in them. So we designed this rod. It's very similar to the swim jig. It's gonna have more backbone, but still has the tip that you need to make long casts and not lose fish. Same great Curado rod, EVA foam, CI4 reel seat, just new additions that are just make you as an angler a lot better.
And actually, everybody's got a vibrating jig in their boat. I want to ask you a little bit more about the swim jig rod. It is so important, when you have the wrong swim jig rod, right?
Yes, no one's really, to my knowledge, built a swim jig rod. And that's one thing me and the designers at Shimano came up with last year is you just kind of making do. Either it be a 7.6 medium heavy or a 7-foot medium heavy. You're just making do. And I told to them and said, I want to do it. And they said, we're going to put it in the Curado lineup. We can get more specific in that lineup. And I said, great, because this is the rod I use most of all. So to make it, we just wanted the good handle length. That way when you're swimming it and you're really, you're popping the rod, the handle's not too short, but it's not too long where it's getting caught up in your shirt when you go to switch hands. So we did the perfect handle length, in my opinion. Lays along your forearm, all the leverage, so you're not killing your forearm. You're actually letting the rod help you out as far as that goes. And you have to have the right tip or you'll lose so many, you miss so many. So we spent 4, a lot of times you can get them right on like 2, and I think we took 4 prototypes to get this rod right.
The perfect Alabama shake rod from Mr. Swim Jig Guntersville 2023.
Yeah.
In addition to these 2 great Alex Davis input Curado editions, right? We have a few more. We have a 7.3 extra heavy. Where's this going to play?
That's a meat stick. To me, all those guys that want to throw your big football head jigs, big worms, and even a lot of guys like to flip, small pitching. We don't flip anymore. I think flipping's a thing of the past, but the short pitches, that thing is a meat stick. So if you're a guy that wants one of those rods, the 7.3 extra heavy is the rod for you.
That thing is beefy. We also have a 6.8 medium spinning rod. Just a little nice little slot rod.
I'm a 7-foot guy. I like a 7-foot spinning rod, but a lot of guys, they want a smaller rod, and I think a lot of it's for the guys who are actually, vertical jigging. They don't want a 7-footer where it's out there. You can just kind of open your bail, send it to Demiki right down to the bottom. And some guys, they do the short little close quarters spinning rod casting. Not my gig, but there's a lot of people that request it. So Shimano always makes sure they do what they need to do for the anglers.
And you asked me specifically not to make you talk about BFS, so I'll talk about BFS. This is a brand new BFS edition. It's a 6.8 light in the Curado rod, and this is something that's really going to let you load up those super finesse, teeny tiny baits with the Aldebaran BFS, the Curado BFS, 4-pound, 6-pound, and really send those things a mile. It's got a little backbone to drive a single hook on a long cast, but it's got that perfect tip you need for light line, light tip, and now you think less of me, don't you?
Well, I don't think that much less of you because you asked about Sonic, so Cherry Limeade was your answer there. But
Cherry Limeade.
You know, the BFS rods,
not your deal.
That's your gig.
You live at Gunnersville. It's your prerogative, man. All right. Well, these are the great new Curado rod additions available for pre-order now at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next, we have the relaunch of the Intenza line. This is the second generation of the Intenza rod. A great combination of performance, design. Tell us all about them.
So they're going to be 13 models. There's 5 casting models, 4 glass models, 4 spinning rod models. They redesigned the rod from start to finish. They used a lot of the same actions as the previous generation because the actions was good. Aesthetically, they wanted to improve it. They wanted to make it better. They wanted to make it a little lighter. So they put cork handles on it. They have the foam foregrip. That's really nice. They added the Diaflash technology to the rods. And like I said, they just kind of got more models and tweaked a few of the actions. Some of my favorite actions is the glass rods. You know, a lot of models don't have glass rods in them as far as lineups. This right here is a 7.2 medium heavy glass. If you're gonna throw any kind of meeting rod and crankbait, rattle trap, I'm a huge trap fisherman, I absolutely love it. This is one of the best rods there is. Handle lengths are perfect, so they put a lot of thought into handle length and just redesign the rods from front to finish.
Yeah, and you mentioned the cosmetic aspect. I know a lot of thought was put into how these rods look. It's a very approachable price point for both weekend guys like myself, and it's a serious fishing tool for pro anglers like you.
And I hate to admit it, sometimes I like just the way things look. I mean, if it's not aesthetically pleasing to your eye, you almost won't want to buy it. I mean, if you look at a pair of shoes, it could be the most comfortable pair of shoes in the world, but if they're pink, I'm not buying them.
Right.
So, that's what it comes in the rod. So the designers completely rehauled the look of it. To me, it looks a whole lot better. It's really comfortable in the hand, used a different reel seat, made this cork a little bit thinner, so it's just, you can fish all day with it, not gonna tire you out, really lightweight.
Some great looking, great fishing models available in the brand new Intenza A generation from Shimano, available now for pre-order at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next in the Shimano booth, we have some truly showpiece rods. This is the brand new series of rods. It's the Poison Ultima from Shimano. JP, tell us all about them.
Well, Poison Ultima is, as the name suggests, the ultimate rod that they have built. It's a Jackal Shimano collaboration. And I'll start with the features that really make the biggest difference on this rod. The first thing we're going to talk about is the blank. It's a Spiral X core blank. So Spiral X is where they take a carbon tape that's infused with nano resin, wrap it up the mandrel without gaps at an angle, do a center layer, come back down the mandrel at the opposite angle, and what it gives is incredible crispness, torsional rigidity. It stops ovalization of the blank. You could feel it right away how crisp the rod really is. And then they've gone one step further and put High Power X on top of that, which is a carbon tape wrapped in an X pattern up and down the blank, which they can change the angles of to affect the action and improve resilience in the blank. When you move to the handle, it's probably the next biggest thing you want to talk about. In your hand, you've got the bait casting model. This has a full carbon monocoque handle. So the handle is actually carbon, but you'll notice the shape of it, it's unique. It's not round like Expride or like Poison Adrena. It's flat, which offers you, when you're holding it, more contact with the skin in the forearm, so you're getting more sensitivity, up to 30% more vibration coming through. On the spinning model, they have that carbon monocoque, but they've added a carbon shell on the foregrip, removing any EVA or cork, which deadens the sensitivity of the rod, and they added Shimano's custom CI4 Plus reel seat, that carbon interfusion reel seat. The guide train would be the last thing we can talk about, and it's the fact that this on the spinning rod is Shimano's proprietary X guide. It's a titanium guide set with a super hard alloy ring, and on the bait casters, they have Fuji Torzite with a tip top of Shimano's X guide. So really every technology that's going to drive our rods forward over the next bunch of years is sitting in these two rods right here.
Talk a little bit about the model lineup here, because it's a limited lineup.
It's a limited lineup. We have 4 models that we've brought into the North American market. There's 2 spinning, a 7-foot medium light and a 7-foot medium. On the casting side, there's a 610 medium jerkbait rod, basically perfect jerkbait rod. And then there's a 7-foot medium heavy, which will cover you from, small jigs, Texas rigs, chatterbait. You could do a bunch of stuff with it.
So for the angler that demands the finest,
The best.
in craft, technology, performance, design, I mean, this is really, it looks like a space age. We have entered the space age, JP.
Yes, absolutely.
With the Poison Ultima leading the way. These are really gorgeous rods, and I mean that. It's a showpiece. I'd be afraid to put it on my boat.
Especially if you're rough on stuff.
I am rough on stuff. But yeah, these are gorgeous. For the discerning angler, this is really going to be something to be proud to be an owner of. That's the brand new Poison Ultima series of rods from Shimano, spinning and casting, available now for pre-order at tacklewarehouse.com. JP, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.
Taking us through all these great new products from Shimano. Up next, Alex is going to tell us all about some brand new additions in the favorite Zodias line.
Yeah, same great Zodias rod, but the new addition 7.3 heavy. All you guys, worm jig, football head jig, structure fishermen, this is the rod that a lot of people has asked for. They wanted a lot of backbone just to be able to get good hook sets, deep water, big line, and that's what the designers did. The engineers do a great job. They have it has enough tip to make long casts, but it's got a lot of meat. So that's the best thing you can do. Great hook sets, deep water, shallow water flipping guys in Florida. They really like this rod. That's what they kind of asked for, so that's what they gave them. Once again, a 6/8 spinning rod. It's a little bit smaller. Damiki guys that want to just do the vertical right in front of the boat, seems like 6/8's their ideal length. So they answered what the fishermen wanted, came out with a 6/8 medium.
Very cool. And that's not the only addition, because there is a brand new 5-piece travel rod. And I think a lot of us that grew up with old 3 and 5-piece travel rods never wanted anything to do with the travel rod again. But if you haven't taken a look at a multi-piece rod, high quality multi-piece rod in a while, it's time. Check out this Zodias and tell us all about it. I mean, it is really not my grandfather's.
So I grew
travel
up
rod.
2-piece rods. That's what kind of you start fishing with, 2-piece, and it was actually nice going to school. You break it down in 2 pieces, like put it in my backpack. Well, it just kind of stuck out about 3 or 4 foot. What's nice about it, 5-piece, you can travel anywhere with it. You can put it on your carry-on, and that seems like where it's most popular. People traveling, they still want to go fishing. Like when coming down here, ICAST, I want a rod. Can't use one of these are for booths. So I can actually have this in my backpack, put it in my travel, the fish be hit the pond behind the house. So 5-piece travel rod. It's going to be a 6/8 medium light, so it's going to do anything you want for as far as spinning rod applications. Small Neds, drop shots, little shaky heads. It can do just about anything. Little top waters, jerk baits.
Yeah, get you bit on the go. I like it, and really, a lot of these travel rods, you don't even know anymore. You don't even know that there's a ferrule there and a break. You used to have these big dead spots in the bend of a rod, and that's no longer the case.
If it wasn't for your eyes, you honestly wouldn't know. So they've come a long way as far as making separate pieces coming together as one rod, and they've done an absolute phenomenal job with it.
Awesome, check it out. That's the brand new Zodias 5-piece travel rod, and 2 great new additions to the existing Zodias line, available for pre-order now at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next in the Shimano booth, really what has become a favorite and a staple, the Expride line of rods. Did not take long for this one to be a favorite. It really a no-nonsense lineup of rods, understated, gorgeous cosmetics, really dialed designs and actions, great technology, and there are some wonderful new links and actions in the Expride meet. Tell us all about it.
So they came out with the first one. This is going to be right here. This is a 7.6 double extra heavy. A lot of guys, seems like the Florida and Texas market, they just keep saying we want a stiffer flipping stick, pretty much want a broom with eyes. And that's what they've come out with here. So for all the guys out there that want to flip the big weight, want to flip bushes with a double extra heavy, this is the rod for you. One actually of our pros that they got last year, David Mullins, he's one of the best crankbait fishermen I know. He wanted a big crankbait rod, and this is the 7.6 heavy glass. It's actually the medium heavy glass, and it's throwing for DT14s, 16s, 6XDs. It has a soft tip, but then it kind of shuts off. What that does is it actually gives you better feel of the bait. The thought used to be you want it really, really soft all the way down the rod, but what happens is it actually makes it dead. So it's kind of reverse of what you think. So he designed this specifically for throwing a big plug. It's a phenomenal rod for it. The next one's just a 7.2 medium. That's a rod that spook, top water, jerk baits. You know, some taller guys want to throw it on a 7.2. Any top water, that's what I'm going to throw on this rod. It's a rod that should have been in a long time ago. It was asked for, so they came clutch on that one. This is a rod that's, I'm not gonna say shocking. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know who in the industry was gonna do it. I'm glad Shimano was the first one. Forward-facing sonar it's the craze. If you look at any tournament, that's what's going on, is forward-facing sonar. And they built 2 rods specifically just for forward-facing sonar. And the technology that's built into it, it's called a solid tip. So it's gonna be extra fast tip, but the rod is actually softer. It's gonna come in a medium and a medium heavy version. And what it does, you can sit there, the engineers described it to me, and when I got to use it, it makes sense, and I felt like it actually is doing exactly what they said. It's just hard for me to fathom that you're getting to move the rod, but you're not moving the bait. With forward-facing sonar and that whole Demiki casting, the whole idea of it, you want the bait to quiver, but you want the bait to quiver, but you don't want it to come 6 and 8 inches high. So they've made a rod specifically for casting a Demiki, casting something with forward-facing sonar. You're shaking it, you're getting the ultimate quiver out of your bait, but you're not moving it up and down the water column. So the fishing industry is changing, rods are changing, electronics are changing. I'm glad Shimano was, you know, the first, in my opinion, to actually design rods for forward-facing sonar.
You know, they've always been very plugged into the system, and this speaks to the scope system.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, some really cool model additions. There's also a BFS rod. You want to tell us all about that, or should I take that
I'm gonna
one?
let you just take it and you can run with this one.
Alex is not a BFS guy. But yeah, a really cool BFS edition here. It's a 6.8 light and is, whoa. It's still got the tip, very durable. I'm trying to break it on camera. Very light tip for casting those teeny tiny baits. Gonna handle down to probably 4 pound, just great with your Curado BFS or your Aldebaran BFS. Check out all these great new additions to the proven Expride B lineup, available for pre-order at tacklewarehouse.com. Joining me now in the Shimano booth is Jake. Jake, thanks for taking us through this great addition to what has become kind of a sneaky little secret for a lot of people. This is the Armajoint, and now it's coming in a slow sink model, isn't that right?
Yeah, so the original Armajoint, it was a great bait, and guys, especially around the Tennessee River, were really modifying these baits to get them down deep. And I got the pleasure of fishing with these baits, and these fish, really, you can use a lot of different depth ranges with it. I could see it on live scope. It falls about 1 foot per second, so it's great. Fishing a little bit deeper, if you want to fish over rock piles, brush piles, ledges, or even fish it a little bit faster, this new slow sinking model is going to be an absolute killer. Tackle Warehouse.
That's awesome. And tell us about some of the features that made this bait so special in the first place.
So one of the cool things about this bait is just the Arma Boost technology itself. Bait actually folds completely in half. So this allows the bait to, rather than helicopter, it has a more aerodynamic feel to it, so you can make those more accurate casts. It's almost like spinnerbait fishing a glide up near cover, that sort of thing. One of the cool things I really found out with the original Armajoint was that you can actually skip a hard bait underneath docks because it's so flat and under that. So it's one of the cool things. And then one of the awesome new things also is just our hook hangers. You can just pop the eye of the hook right in there, and basically that allows it. It's impossible for our hooks to hang up on each other. So it's a really cool thing. Flash boost technology. It's another visual key for when you're fishing a big bait, you have fish following it. It gives them a secondary action to kind of hone in and take the strike. So it takes followers and turns them into biters. So
really cool, and converts those biters into fish in the boat. There's nothing more frustrating than working to get that big bite and then dumping the fish halfway back to the
exactly.
boat.
So cool thing about those is you can even upgrade to a little bit larger split ring and larger hooks, so you get more controlled swinging on the fish, so they're not able to throw the bait.
No more tinkering in the garage to make your Armajoint a sinking bait. You can get these available for pre-order at tacklewarehouse.com. And we have another great bait too, right?
Yeah, so this is the BT Spin. So this is gonna be kind of a unique bait. You know, there's a lot of tail spinners on the market, but they're primarily all made out of lead. So this is made of a plastic bait. On the upward retrieve, whenever you're retrieving the bait, it actually has a unique action that's in between a trap and a square bill crankbait. So it's kind of a unique action to where you can fish it all over suspended fish on live scope. You can fish on the bottom, almost like a Derricoop on the jackal side of things. You can rib it through grass and give them a little bit more finessey profile. Say you're at Lake Gunnersville or any of the places that have grass. It's just a unique look the fish haven't seen. One of the coolest features is just the hologramic look, but we also have some really cool matte finishes that a lot of other companies are not, don't have on the market. So very unique. Rather than having a Colorado blade, it has a unique willow to have a little bit of vibration, but not something that's too much. So,
they always say 10% of anglers catch 90% of the fish, and 10% of those offshore, the best offshore anglers have been beating them up on a tail spinner for a long time, and this is just another look in that very effective fish catching tool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a new one from Shimano, available in 8 different colors, and it weighs 5/8 of an ounce, so you're able to fish it at a variety of different depths.
Check them out for pre-order now at tacklewarehouse.com. You may have already heard about what's coming next because it's been teased and leaked a lot over the last couple of months, so we knew something big was coming. This is the brand new Mastiff Fluoro from Shimano. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we had our soft launch at the Bassmaster Classic, and Jeff Gustafson won on this line, won the Bassmaster Classic on this stuff. Basically, this line is super strong, it's super subtle, and it's really abrasion resistant. But the main thing that makes this line different than any other line is nano armor technology. The way I describe it is, if you've ever been to an aquarium where you've been to the shark tank and you felt the shark's skin, it's like rough one way and smooth the other. That's kind of how our line is, but on a microscopic level where you'd never be able to feel it. Basically, on all of the testing, we did some heat friction maps. Basically, going through your guides and cinching on a knot, there's a lot of heat and you can burn up fluorocarbon. Everybody's had that, where there's a weak spot in your line, you broke off because of that. Well, this nano armor technology, because it has those ridges, it protects the line. Rather than it being just a coating over the line, it's the line itself, so it makes it stronger and more abrasion resistant, and it really casts very well. And it comes from anywhere between 4 all the way to 20-pound line, and I'm really impressed with it so far. I've caught a lot of big fish, anywhere from Toledo Bend throwing a big Magnum spoon to Lake Ontario, leader material, all the way to your FG to your 10-pound Power Pro braid. It's been catching them.
Really, if you don't have confidence in the line you're using, you got nothing. You're not going to fish well, and you've spoken to your confidence in the strength and durability of the line. If you don't want to take it from Jake, take it from Gustafson winning the Classic on it. Pretty awesome that his confidence was in that line, win the biggest title in bass fishing woods. So that's all from the Shimano booth. Jake, thanks so much.
Yeah,
we appreciate you taking us through the new baits, the new line. Thanks to Shimano for showing us all the brand new rods and reels. In addition, you can check all that stuff out right now, tacklewarehouse.com. It's all available for pre-order.